first reason why you want to start your debt-free journey is because it's robbing your income. You're going to work or you have a business and you're bringing income in, but the more debt you have, the more you go and apply for something, the more you think, I don't have enough for this, the more you put off starting your emergency fund. And because you're doing that, you're having to go and apply for personal loans. You're having to go and apply for credit cards to make up for what you don't have. Or some people apply for things and they accrue debt just because they know they can get it. Just because you know you have a high credit score. And a high credit score does not mean that you're good with money. It does not mean you're good with money. It means you pay your bills. But if you're paying your bills and you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's all you're able to do. You're not able to do much of anything else. So when you're bringing your income, the income that you're bringing in, all of it doesn't even belong to you. It belongs to the people that you owe. Because at the end of the day, they have to get their money first. And then whatever you have is supposed to go to your needs and your wants. So the total US credit card debt exceeded 127 trillion in late 2025, with the average card balance per person was roughly $6,500 to $9,100. So that's not the limit. That's how much that the average person with a credit card is spending on their credit card. 6,500, 9,100. Now some people may have this money in an emergency fund where you can pay this off. But if you're the person that you're spending this much or you have this balance on your credit card and you don't even have the money to pay it back, it's time for you to make a plan. It's time for you to make a plan. I have one credit card that I use and it doesn't go over $600. And that's not all at one time. I only use my credit card to keep my credit score at a consistent rate. And I don't plan on using it forever. It's only the second card I've ever had in my whole life, and I only have one card at a time. And that's just for the purpose of me purchasing a home. Other than that, I'm not using a credit card just to take vacations or just to pay my bills because I don't have enough money to pay my bills, or I'm not living off my credit card. I'm using my credit card for the sole purpose of what it should be used for, to help my credit score. And so when I keep my mindset in that perspective, it helps me to be responsible with my credit card. And it helps me to stay away from accruing more debt. Interest, when you have a credit card or you have any type of debt, of course you know that there is an interest rate that comes. I remember I was at work and I got a call from someone. I was taking calls and I got a call from someone, and it was a young lady, and I was talking to her, and she was like, there's a charge on my credit card and I don't know where it came from. And I was like, okay, well, what's the charge? And she said, it's something called an interest. I said, yes, ma'am. That's the interest you get for. And this credit card, she had maxed her limit. It wasn't a small limit. I think the credit card had to be at least five figures. She got approved for a five-figure credit card and completely maxed the card out. Okay. So, and she was calling, she said, I'm trying to figure out, can y'all refund me this charge? I said, no, ma'am. That's the interest rate. You have an interest rate that came with the credit card. And the interest that you're accruing is on the balance of the credit card. And she was so confused and taken aback, like she had no idea that that was a thing. And the place that I work for, I could tell that in her mind she was like, she was upset that she opened a credit card with this particular company. And I was like, ma'am, interest rates are nation, that's a world thing. That's not a company thing. It's a world thing. Every lender has interest rates. And so anywhere you go, depending on your credit score, you're going to have an interest rate. And if you leave a balance on your credit card, you're being charged. So I was just explaining it to her. And the reason why I say that is because everybody don't, it let me know that everybody does not know the full gist of what it's like getting a credit card, applying for a loan, or being in debt or anything like that. And so a lot of people may not even know that interest on anything, you have good interest and you have bad interest. You have interest on a high yield savings account. You have interest on stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and things of that sort. That interest is working for you. When you're in debt, the interest that you're accruing with the debt is working against you. And so when you have interest with savings and investments, you're making money. When you have interest with debt, you're losing money. And so not only is it taken away from your income, but you're losing even more money from the compound interest that you're accruing with that debt. And so minimum payments will delay your wealth building, because when you make minimum payments, that's special on a credit card. That's how that interest is accruing more and more. Or even with a car loan, if you have a car loan and you're only making, one payment, as long as you're making your payment with the car loan, I mean, you're doing something right. But you're doing something better if you say, well, I can continue to make one payment on this car to get it paid off. Or what I can also do is I can pay extra towards the principal to get it paid off faster. Because the longer we stay in debt, the longer it's taking us to start building wealth. Because at the end of the day, even for wealthy people, if you look at your net worth and you think about how much you want your net worth to be, we don't want our net worth to be in the negative. We want our net worth to be in the positive. And so even for a lot of rich people, they're rich, but if they have debt, the debt that they have is lowering their net worth. Whereas if they didn't have any debt or they weren't accruing any debt, their net worth would be a whole lot higher than what it is. And so it just depends on the person. It depends on how you look at it. It depends on your perspective. But if it's working for a rich person, that most likely means that they have strategy. They know how to go around the game that lenders play with people. But from the things that I've seen, lenders know exactly who they can I don't want to say scam, but they know exactly who they can, I don't even know the word to use, but you have to know how to play the game with lenders. And so the best way to do that is to not even play the game at all. We're so concerned with having a high credit score that we're willing to do anything. I for the last month I thought I have been teeter-tottering between like uh my credit score kind of goes between, especially since I bought my house. Um my credit score, it just hops around between, I say, about 660 and a 690 something, right? So it shot up to a 697, I think, in January. And so in February, I'm thinking, okay, it's probably gonna, because I don't accrue more debt. I'm not accruing more debt. I'm not applying for anything. I'm just using my credit card to kind of keep it balanced. Um, and so and I have a plan for that. I'm the house that I purchased last year. I don't plan on staying. This is more like an investment property, so I don't plan on staying in this house for 30 years. So I have plans of things that I need to do as far as um, building more wealth. And yes, I had to accrue debt, but this is an asset. I also obtained an asset in the process of applying for this debt. But at some point, I plan to flip this asset so that I can pay off the debt and move over into something else that I'll also be able to flip and continue to go on that journey. But anyway, um the more we stay in debt, the longer it takes for us to build our wealth. And so when we're looking at when we're looking at building wealth, we're not just thinking about getting out of the debt. We're thinking about how it's impacting our net worth. When we pass and we leave this earth, and like I said again, working in the financial industry, we think we're a lot of us are not thinking long term. So we're not thinking about how we're leaving our loved ones. And we a lot of us do have the thought of, I don't want to leave debt behind. And some of us don't care. Some people don't care because we're continuously accruing the debt. Even for rich people, if they may have these they're high income earners. They have these thriving businesses that are bringing in millions and millions of dollars, but they also have a lot of debt. When they pass, they're most likely going to leave a legacy behind for their kids. But before their kids get that legacy, that debt has to be paid. So the lenders are going to come after that money and whoever has that money to make sure that their debt gets paid. And so that's lowering that wealth building that their parents have been building for them all these years. And they're thinking that, okay, well, I have this amount, this is how much my kids should get. They're going to get that amount minus what you've owed to whatever lenders you borrowed money from. It stops us from investing aggressively when payments are hanging over us. We could do a whole lot more investing if we didn't have debt. Because, and then also at the same time, the interest that we're paying on a car loan, the interest that we're paying on a credit card, the interest we're paying on a personal loan can be interest that is accrued when we invest. But instead of us making that money, we're paying it out and we're making the lender more wealthy while our balance, while our imbalance